Hi, it's Faceless Aaron in Winnipeg, and I'm here with my trusty Squier Classic Vibe 60s Jazzmaster. I bought this brand new in 2019. It was in the first batch when this guitar was introduced, when Fender was replacing the old vintage modified line with the Classic Vibe line. So I've had this guitar and I've enjoyed it for all that time, but it's now time to get it ready to send it off to my niece, who has been taking guitar lessons on an acoustic guitar, and she's making great progress. And so this is going to be her first electric guitar, and I'm pretty jazzed about that because it's a pretty cool guitar to get started on. The main challenge of it, of course, being a vintage style Jazzmaster, is that it's got all of these knobs and switches, which can be a bit confusing on first encounter. And I thought I'd make a video to explain all those knobs and switches to her. And I know there's lots of videos on YouTube that are about explaining how a Jazzmaster works, or how a Jaguar works, and this one is for her. So let's just take a quick inventory of what we see in terms of the electronics. I'm not going to talk about any other aspect of the guitar. But you'll notice that right off the bat, you've got down here on the treble side, you've got a three-way switch right here, and you've got these two knobs. One is labeled volume and one is labeled tone. And of course, any electric guitar is going to have probably a switch for the pickups and a volume and tone knob, if not several of those. The main way that a Jazzmaster differs from most other electric guitars is the stuff at the top here, because you've got over here on the bass side, you've got this switch up at the top. That's called the rhythm and lead circuit, and I'll demonstrate that in a second. And it's got also a separate volume and tone control. And the reason for all that is that the Jazzmaster, as well as the Jaguar, these guitars were originally designed so that you could set up one set of sounds when this switch up at the top is in one position, and a different set of sounds when it was in the other position, so that you could switch rapidly between them. So this switch is actually called the rhythm and lead circuit. When it's pointed downward towards the treble side, it activates this stuff down here. The volume knob, the tone knob, and this pickup selector. And that's when this switch is down. When it's up, it disables these controls, and it only uses this volume knob and this tone knob. And we'll talk more in a moment about the other ways that this switch colors the sound. But a lot of people who play these guitars just always leave this rhythm lead circuit in the lead position. In other words, pointed down, pointed towards the treble side, and again, that gives you quite ordinary controls. Pickup selector, volume, and tone. So we'll start with talking about the pickup selector switch. This guitar has two pickups. It's got one over here. This is called the neck pickup, closer to the neck. It's got this one over here, closer to the bridge. When you have the selector switch set to the neck pickup, and the switch is actually oriented in a way so that it actually physically points towards... Sorry about the barking. Pretzel saw a cat, and he's not happy about it. Yeah, he's not happy about it. He's generally a good boy, though. That's a nice yawn. Anyway, let's get back to that pickup selector switch. Anyway, as I was saying, with the way the switch is oriented on the guitar, it actually physically points to the pickup that you're using. So if it's pointing in this direction towards the bridge, it's pointing to the bridge, it's activating the bridge. If it's pointing in this way, it's activating the neck pickup. And the neck pickup generally has a slightly woodier, bassier, less treble forward sound than the bridge pickup. The bridge pickup has more of a treble forward sound, and oftentimes people use the bridge pickup for playing like rock rhythm guitar. But anyway, let's hear what they sound like. Let's just compare them directly. We'll start with the neck pickup. I gotta apologize for my rather awkward playing. This guitar is set up with light strings and I am not used to them. So anyway, let's try that neck pickup again. So that's the neck pickup. Let's switch to the bridge pickup and hear how different it sounds. So that's the bridge pickup. And let's do some quick rhythm guitar, so again you can hear the difference. We'll start with the neck pickup again. So that was the neck pickup. Let's switch to the bridge. Anyway, as you can see, it sounds quite different. You can also set it in the middle between the two pickups. It activates both pickups and it gives you a blend of both sounds. And actually, that middle position is my favorite sound on the Jazzmaster. It's a kind of surf sound. So that's the pickup selector. The only other thing to be aware of when you're in the lead circuit like this is the tone control. The volume control does just what it sounds like. It turns the volume up and down. Let's hear what that sounds like. It just turns it loud and quiet. But the other knob, the tone knob, it adjusts how much treble comes out of the guitar. Fender type guitars in general are quite trebly, and the Jazzmaster is probably the most trebly of them all. The tone knob, basically when you got it set to 10, it's sending all the signal out to your amp, but when you turn it down, it shaves off some of the treble information. So let's hear what that sounds like. This is on 10. We've already heard that on 10. That sounds like this. Now let's turn the tone down to 5 and see what that sounds like. So anyway, you can see it's quite a bit less trebly when it's set that way. And you can turn it all the way down to 0 and you get a kind of a muted sound. That's what that sounds like. Kind of a Jim Hall sound. Okay, that's the lead circuit. Let's go back to this switch up here. When you turn this switch into the up position, facing towards the bass strings, in other words, then you engage the rhythm circuit. Now what the rhythm circuit does is first of all, it cuts out these switches, this switch and these knobs. These no longer do anything. And it turns off the bridge pickup. It only uses the neck pickup. It also... Now, the so-called rhythm circuit, although it only uses the neck pickup, it actually doesn't sound the same as the lead circuit using the neck pickup because it's running the pickup through a different set of capacitors. It's a little bit more muffled and a little bit more bassy than the lead circuit neck pickup. So if you just want to quickly hear the difference between the two, I'm just going to play those chords again so that you can hear, okay, this is the lead circuit, the switch is down on the neck pickup, and again, everything is up at 10. And that sounds like this. Now let's contrast that with the rhythm circuit rather. So we'll flip that switch up, and that sounds like this. And you notice that it's a lot mellower sounding. And again, here you'll see what the rhythm and lead circuit sound like differently. So this is the lead circuit. Again, everything on 10. And this is the rhythm circuit. And the name is a bit of a misnomer. It's called the rhythm circuit. Hardly anybody uses it to play rhythm guitar anymore. It's just that back when this guitar was designed, that was the kind of sound of jazz rhythm guitar or Western swing rhythm guitar, so that's why it's called that. Anyway, for that circuit, I don't know why that cat is tormenting my poor doggy, but anyway, he's making a lot of noise. Anyway, so as I was saying, when you're on the rhythm circuit, when this switches up, then the sound of that is now controlled by these two knobs, and this is the volume knob. So again, we'll hear how that sounds. So that's the volume knob. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but as you can see, it's just a knob turned on its side, and you roll it with the tip of your finger. And this one is the tone knob, and that again, it just adjusts how trebly the sound of it is, so that you get something like this with it all the way on. Anyway, that's your rhythm circuit. Now, some people who play this type of guitar, they either never use the rhythm circuit at all, so they just leave it always in the down position, or they use this switch up here as essentially what's called the kill switch, so you can get a stuttering kind of sound. And to do that, you just turn the rhythm circuit volume all the way down, and then you can get your stuttering effect, which sounds like this. Kind of like a tremolo effect. But anyway, how you use the sounds that this guitar has to offer is entirely up to you. I actually like the rhythm circuit a lot because I play jazz, and I feel like it gives you a nice balanced kind of almost acoustic sound, as opposed to the extreme trebliness that the guitar can send out on its lead circuit. So that's it for the electronics, Charlie, and really that just about covers what I wanted to say in this video. Everything else about the guitar, your teacher is probably going to cover for you. This guitar does indeed have a vibrato system, or also known as a whammy bar or a wiggle stick, and that gives you a nice surfy warble effect. The whammy bar can be as loose or as tight as you wish. It just pops in and out. You can have it just sort of in slightly and hanging loosely, and then you can just move it around as you wish. Or if you want it to be more planted, you just got to cram it in there, and then it'll stay where you put it. I actually think that a lot of guitar players, when they're learning, find vibrato systems really frustrating, but I actually think that the vibrato system that's on a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar is probably the easiest to get used to, because it doesn't really require balancing the way a Strat Trem does, or a Floyd Rose. It's pretty user-friendly. The only recommendation that I would make is that when you're tuning up, you probably want to tune from the outside in. So you start by tuning the two E strings, and then you tune your A string, and then the B string, and then the D string and the G string, and then you'll probably have to go back and tune the E strings again. But generally, this guitar stays in tune pretty well, and the vibrato keeps it in tune, again, pretty well. So that pretty much is your tour of this guitar. The only thing that I'll say just before I sign off is that I've had my amplifier set to a clean channel just to give you the clearest possible sense of what this guitar sounds like with the minimum of effects and coloring on it. But of course, your amp is potentially going to have the option to distort and add effects and all that kind of thing. And again, all of these knobs and switches are going to give you interesting effects with all of that stuff. So have fun playing with that. Enjoy practicing, enjoy the guitar, and I cannot wait to hear the music that you play.